Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kori if you're new here, and today I'm going to do a different kind of video. This is going to be a sit down. So this sit down is going to revolve around life after college. This is me just giving you guys my personal experience, things that I went through, my mindset, just kind of figuring life out. I'm 22, so I'm still learning a lot, okay? And if y'all see a little black thing back there, that is my little puppy Rocky. Okay, he's just there. Okay. Anyways, yeah, so I have my little notebook. I wrote down some things. So the first thing I want to talk about is that excitement for like that beginning time and then reality hits. What do I mean by this? Well, I can say for myself, like leading up to graduation day in May, and also that entire week after I graduated, like I was super excited. All my family was excited, adrenaline was pumped. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I got my bachelor's degree and I'm just ready for the world. Like, great, 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 great. And while that is great, don't get me wrong, afterwards for me, it started to hit like, okay, the excitement's kind of dying down. So it's like, what now? Like, there's no more schedules, there's no more classes. I have to find a job. Or maybe some people, they go to the military. Maybe some people, I don't know, like all kinds of different things. And for me, I was thinking like, okay, should I go back to school? Like, what do I do? Like, there's so many different options. And so what I knew that I wanted to do though was teach, and I wanted to immediately start teaching once I graduated. So, needless to say, I started applying for jobs as soon as I graduated, and I wasn't getting anything. Like maybe either some people never got back to me, or they got back to me and they were like, "Oh, the position's filled, this or that, yada yada yada." And so at first I was like, "Okay, cool, it's fine." But then as the end of May started to roll around, because for some reason in my mind I was like, "Okay, I need to have a job ASAP, like, or else I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life." So I just kept applying and kept doing all of these things, and I wasn't getting any of the responses that I wanted. And so I did get this one job offer, but I ended up not taking it. So I just kept looking. And then part of me also felt like, did I make a mistake by not taking that job offer? Because that was my first ever like official career job offer. And I decided after careful consideration that it just wasn't for me. So I kind of started to regret that. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? But to keep a long story short, I was actually way ahead of the program. So what I mean by this is, like I said, I graduated in like mid or beginning of May, and I immediately started applying to jobs. But in the teaching industry alone, a lot of people are still trying to figure out, are they coming back next year? Who's retiring? Maybe someone's going to switch districts, switch grades. And principals and campuses are all still figuring all of these things out. However, I didn't really understand that back then. So it put me in a panic of I need to find a job, or like, what else am I going to do? And I was also very surprised, especially because in the education field, like it's so open, it's so vast. There's so many different, like there's people always talking about like teacher shortages and all this stuff. And so for me to feel like at the time I couldn't find a job, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I had this degree for no reason at this point. Like I can sit back and laugh at it, but at the time I was like, what am I doing? And I know like other majors for sure, it's really like that. Like once you get out, you probably either need to go back to school or find an elite career, which can be harder. But for education, I do think it's a bit easier sometimes. But I do think you have to give it time or be a little patient and see what's out there. And also not take, like, you don't necessarily have to take the first ever job offer you get. It kind of just depends. Like I said, this is just my personal situation. This is what I went through. And so, yeah, I knew that I wanted to start teaching immediately, but I know some people like they go back to school. Like I have a few of my classmates who are starting teaching this year, but they're starting to get their masters or different kinds of things. So you definitely just have to do what's best for you. But I will say one thing that I think a lot of people can probably agree on is as soon as you graduate, especially with that first bachelor's degree, you kind of like have to think about what's next. Like, what do I want to do next? And okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is friends going on different pathways in life. So, this is one I would honestly say, if I'm being vulnerable with you all, this honestly hit me really hard because I went to school with my best friend and one of my other really, really close girlfriends. We all went to literally the same college, but my best friend graduated like a semester earlier than me. And then my other friend, she's still in school. So we all kind of graduating or graduated at different times. So that was definitely different because I've known these girls since like sixth grade, one since babies. Like, so it was different not having them right there, especially for me because I did live in like an apartment, and then I moved back home because my best friend didn't live with me anymore, and so it was just a whole lot of adjustments, especially when I realized that I was not going to be graduating at the same time as everyone else. You know, I'm kind of going to be on campus alone, or maybe we just won't see each other as much. So that's definitely a big eye opener for me. And another thing I would say is once you graduate college again, it kind of goes back to that you kind of do what you want to do. You know, some people they decide like, okay, maybe we're ready to have a family, we're ready to get married. Some people, hey, maybe it's the military, the Navy, or different branches. Some people, let me go back to school, let me do this, let me do that. And so for me, I also felt like, what am I doing? Like, what should I be doing? I don't really necessarily know in a sense. And I also kind of felt like life is literally moving so fast. Like, everything seems like it's just happening like that. Like, and I also felt kind of, I guess you can call it lost in a sense, because every time I turn around or every time I look on social media, somebody getting married or somebody's having a baby or somebody's doing this or somebody's doing that, somebody's running a 5K. Like, oh my gosh. So I was like, oh my gosh, because also I was dealing with like I didn't even have a job at one point, or I wasn't sure like where am I gonna find a job at. So it was like a lot of different experiences. But I would definitely say like after graduation, everybody kind of goes on their own pathways, definitely different priorities in life. And for me, I would say at least that has definitely been a huge adjustment for me, especially because I'm so close to like my girls. Like, we're so close to each other. We might not hang out every day, but we all kind of talk and just at some points like live around each other, excuse me, and just different things. So it's definitely a huge adjustment because once life hits, okay? But another thing I will say about that is it kind of challenged me in a sense because like I looked at it as like, okay, so these are my groups of friends or different things like that, but maybe they're busy, maybe they're occupied, so what can I do? Um and for a minute it kind of gave me a feeling of loneliness because I wasn't necessarily sure how to take it or how to approach this new era of my life. But for me, it did allow me to start to get out, start to do more things. And I'm already a person that like I'll go walk around by myself or I'll go do XYZ by myself. But sometimes I get tired of it, or sometimes it's like, do I want to do that? Do I want to spend money? And all of these different things. But I will say, like, being put in these different positions has caused me to self evaluate, okay, where can I do better as a human being in this position, or what do I need to work on for myself? Another thing is I feel like you're always gonna be finding yourself and learning yourself, but I definitely feel like I'm in this new stage of my life. I've graduated. I don't have classes anymore. Like, I'm literally about to start my first career job. So I've never seen myself in that setting. I've never seen myself in those kinds of environments, maybe those kinds of situations, those kinds of stress levels. And so for me, it's after graduation learning the new me, if that makes any sense. And I think it, like I said, it's caused me like I go out a lot more by myself. I want to say I'm more in tune with my feelings. Like, I think sometimes when you're around like a lot of people or you're always occupying yourself, you kind of just put those feelings to the back. But when you're kind of just sitting or you're just doing something low key, maybe you're going on a walk or a run or just relaxing or driving around, I don't know. But I do feel like I'm a lot more in tune with my feelings. And I'm also in tune a lot more with like learning who I am, my strengths as well as my weaknesses. I would say that's one of the big things life after graduation has really been teaching me. Okay, another thing I'm going to talk about is finding the Lord. So I'm definitely a daughter of the Most High, and I will say my relationship with the Lord is not perfect in any way. Like, I want to surface that right now. Like, in no way perfect. I do devotionals all the time on YouTube and TikTok and different things like that, but that's literally just me kind of spreading the word, or maybe I just felt led to read that scripture or something. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going through things behind closed doors or whatever the case may be, or feeling convicted or sinning. Like, we all fall short. And so for me, life after graduation really kind of tested my relationship with God, because when, like I said, all my friends going in different pathways, but it also led me to push more towards the Lord. Like, the Lord is never going to forsake you. He's never going to leave you. But we say that, but what does that actually mean? And so for me, it's just like, okay, sitting in his presence, reading the Bible more. Like, I've started a lot more routines that when I was busy or just occupying myself, I wasn't doing these things. I wasn't having that intentional time with the Lord. And to this day, that's literally something that I'm still working on. Like, putting the phone down and getting in my Bible, or just worshiping, or just sitting in silence, and even just prayer. That's one of the big things I'll say towards the end of my college years. And this summer, I would say the prayer life has really elevated. Like, it's not perfect, but I do find when I'm alone and I can be like as loud as I want or something like that, my prayers phenomenal. And this happened towards the end of right before graduation, because I had a few tests that if I didn't pass those tests, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And that caused me to lean on the Lord a lot more. So I'll definitely say all these different trials, these tribulations, these blessings have caused me to look at my life and look at how can I incorporate the Lord more? What can I do differently? What does he want from me? Everybody's pathway is different. So what is the pathway that he wants from me, and where can I better myself at? So a lot of those different things. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I've kind of touched on all the topics that I wanted to touch on. Like I said, this is just my personal experience, things that I've gone through, things that I'm still navigating, because May was literally 2 months ago. Like, it's not been that long. I'm still learning. We're all still learning. But yeah, I hope this helped somebody if you want to listen. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you guys want more sit downs or whatever. Okay, peace.